How did you arrive at this ranking, and what do you do at Cleantech, and just maybe describe the process a little bit?
Sure. I work at the Cleantech Group part-time as a reporter, and what I do is I rank a lot of the countries, the university, the states, and now the clusters. So what I did with the clusters is I looked at a lot of different factors, be it revenues, be it the number of companies, be it the growth rate, etc. Also some factors that aren't more reputation-wise. And I found that ECO WORLD STYRIA came out #1 versus every other cluster in the world, which is quite impressive. So I say congratulations and keep up the good work.
Particularly in difficult economic times, it was green technology, it was clean technology that swam against the current, so to speak, because it, contrary to others, was able to generate more revenue, and it was able to even create jobs when all the other industries seemed to be depleting jobs and losing jobs.
What you guys accomplished, around 150 companies, 2.7 billion euros revenues with the companies, growth rate around 22%, and creating approximately 2,000 jobs in 2008. That really swayed my decisions. I also thought that you were doing a great job, working with the different clusters, which is also important. I know, speaking with Bernard, you have another program in place where you're working with other clusters throughout Europe and throughout the world, which also, I think, rises your profile.
How many comparable networks to ECO WORLD STYRIA are there, and that you considered in your ranking?
Comparable networks, well, and there's two ways to explain that. There's a lot of clusters in the world, places where they have clusters of a lot of clean tech companies. Take a place like Israel or different places in the US, but there's only a certain number of organizations. So to be classified as an organization, you need to have some type of organization similar to yourself. I'd say I looked at around 30 worldwide. So when you're talking about, helping the old industries, the new industries, to me, being an American, I think it really comes down to money. It's nice to do good by the environment, and it's nice to help, but at the end of the day, we have to make it economical for everyone. If you don't do that, it's not going to work. And I think there's going to be some type of inflection point, I don't know where it is, where the price of renewables is going to be equal to, or maybe even less than, fossil fuels and things like coal. Because if you think about it, we're going to run out of oil eventually and coal, and those prices are going to rise. Whereas we get more technology and new ideas from renewables, it's the inverse relationship. Actually, the prices are going to go down. So at some point where there's an inflection point, these big companies are going to see that, and I think that jump on the bandwagon, because either they do it or they're extinct. It's really up to them. And I think regarding, for example, your cluster, and let's call it clean tech in general, there are no borders in clean tech, and people have to look for technologies that great export for Austria to the US or China or whatever part of the world, because this is a revolution that's not going to stop. We need energy. It's really simple. So I think you're in a good position for that. I think the older companies are going to jump on board when they have to, meaning once they see market share going away, they're not going to let that happen. So if you're an electric company and you're selling electricity, why would you want to save energy? That's your product that you're selling. But at some point, inflection point, I don't know where it is in time, I think that will change.
One last question to you. What went on before, that was just some local figures. But anyway, we have two final questions to you. The first one is, what do you believe is the potential for the ECO WORLD STYRIA? And the second is, what makes ECO WORLD STYRIA unique?
What's the potential? I think the potential is to Austria, in regards to the world, is somewhat of a small country, but I think the opportunity is to take these great technologies that you have and bring them to different parts of the world. And be it, for just using the U.S. for an example, we are, I'd say, behind when it comes to technologies in this space compared to Austria and the rest of the world. But on the other side, we have a huge market potential, be it also in a place like China, India, all these different parts of the world. So I think the opportunity for your cluster and other clusters are to take these great technologies that you have and companies and to bring them to different parts of the world. Because Cleantech, to me, is a little bit like the search for oil. You have to go wherever the technologies are. That's what I think the real focus could be. Obviously, you build up a great network there. To expand that, I think would be really interesting for me. And what differentiates ECO WORLD STYRIA, I think you're truly Europe's green tech valley in the sense that you have the government support, you have the capital, and most importantly, obviously, with an organization, is you have a really strong organization. I had a lot of conversations with Bernard. I looked at your website, and I've got a lot of reference points that all pointed towards really positive things for your cluster. There's the tangibles, there's the numbers, and then there's the intangibles. And I think your cluster really had check marks on both boxes, which was very unusual compared to the other clusters. Some of the other clusters, they're clusters, but they're not really doing much. You're really doing things, and I think that's going to make the difference going forward. Is the strong organization, the government support, capital, and exporting the technology.